We are taught that the human will to live is the strongest force in nature. We are taught that when we are cornered, when we are starving, when we are dying, our brain fights to keep the lights on. But what happens when you decide to turn the lights off yourself? What happens when you realize that hope is just a cruel form of torture, and you decide to end it on your own terms? Imagine you are in the middle of the Sahara Desert. You have been lost for 4 days. You have no water, you have no food. Your skin is burned black by the sun. Your tongue is swollen so large it blocks your throat. You have found shelter in an abandoned, ruined shrine. You know that nobody is coming. You are hundreds of miles off course. You decide to die with dignity. You take a sharp piece of charcoal. You sharpen your knife. You lie down. You say goodbye to your wife. You apologize to your children. And you slit your wrists. You close your eyes, waiting for the peace of darkness. You wait for the end. But the end doesn't come. You wake up the next morning. The sun is rising. The heat is returning. And you look at your wrists. The blood has clotted. You are so dehydrated, your blood is as thick as syrup. It refused to flow. You realize with a screaming frustration that you cannot even kill yourself. The desert has taken your water, it has taken your hope, and now it has taken your choice. You are trapped in a hell that won't let you live, but won't let you die. This is the story of Mauro Prosperi. It is the story of an Olympic athlete who entered the toughest footrace on Earth and ended up in a survival horror movie. It is a story of bat blood, urine, and a hallucination that saved a life. And it is the story of a man who had to walk back from the dead because death simply wouldn't take him. If you are fascinated by the absolute limits of human endurance and the strange irony of fate, please hit that subscribe ** button right now. You need to hear this story because it proves that sometimes the only way out is to keep walking when even your own body wants to quit. To understand the disaster, we have to understand the challenge. The *Marathon des Sables Marathon of the Sands is not a normal race. It is a 6-day, 155-mile ultramarathon across the Sahara Desert in Morocco. It is widely considered the toughest footrace on the planet. Competitors have to be self-sufficient. They carry their own food, their own sleeping bag, their own survival gear. The organizers only provide water at checkpoints and a tent at night. If you get lost, you are on your own in one of the most hostile environments in the solar system. In 1994, Mauro Prosperi signed up. Mauro was 39 years old. He was an Italian police officer and a former Olympic pentathlete, 1984 Los Angeles Games. He was tough, he was fit, he was disciplined. He wasn't doing it to win, he was doing it to test himself. He told his wife, Cynthia, "I want to see where my limits are." He had no idea he was about to find them. The first 3 days went well. Mauro was running strong. But on day 4, the desert showed its teeth. A sandstorm hit. This wasn't just a breeze. It was a wall of yellow violence. The wind blew at 50 miles per hour. The sand was like sandpaper on the skin. Visibility dropped to 0. The race organizers have a rule. If a sandstorm hits, stop. Stay where you are, wait for it to pass. But Mauro was competitive. He thought, if I keep moving, I can gain time on the others. He wrapped a scarf around his face and kept running. He ran for 8 hours through the storm. When the wind finally died down, the landscape had changed. The dunes had shifted. The trail markers were buried. Mauro looked around. He didn't see any flags. He didn't see any footprints. He was alone in a sea of sand. Mauro wasn't panicked yet. He was an Olympian. He had a map, he had a compass. He reasoned, I just need to head south to the finish line. So he started running south. But he made a fatal calculation. He didn't account for the magnetic deviation in the desert, or perhaps he misread the terrain. He wasn't running south, he was running west. He was running toward Algeria. He was running into the deepest, emptiest part of the Sahara. He ran until the sun went down. He had a half bottle of water left. He drank it sparingly. He slept in a hole he dug in the sand to stay warm. The next morning, he climbed a high dune. He expected to see the race camp, the helicopters, the tents. He saw nothing but sand. Endless, rolling, golden waves of death. Day 2 of being lost. Mauro ran again. He saw something on the horizon, a structure. Hope surged, a village, a checkpoint. He ran toward it. It was a *** Marabout shrine ***, an abandoned tomb of a Muslim holy man. It was a ruin, 3 walls and a roof. Mauro went inside. It was cool. It offered shade. But it was empty. There was no water, no people. There were, however, roommates. Bats. Hundreds of bats were hanging from the ceiling, sleeping during the day. Mauro was starving. He was dehydrated. His survival instinct, the primal brain, took over. He grabbed a handful of sand. He threw it at the ceiling. The bats scattered. Some fell to the ground. Mauro grabbed them. He took a knife. He cut their heads off. He didn't cook them. He didn't have fire. He squeezed them. He drank their blood. He later said it tasted like warm, salty metallic syrup. It was disgusting, but it was fluid. He ate the raw meat. He sucked the guts. He ate 20 bats. He was turning into a predator. For the next 2 days, Mauro stayed at the shrine. He knew the rule: stay in one place so they can find you. He put his Italian flag on the roof. He waited. He heard a sound, an engine. A helicopter. It was a police helicopter searching for him. Mauro jumped up. He waved his shiny thermal blanket. He screamed. The helicopter flew right over him. They didn't see him. The shrine blended into the sand. The blanket reflected the sun just like the quartz in the sand. The helicopter faded away. Hours later, a small plane flew over. Mauro set fire to his backpack to create a smoke signal. But the sandstorm had left the air dusty. The smoke didn't rise, it dispersed. The plane kept going. That was the moment Mauro broke. He realized he was invisible. He realized he was going to die in this shrine, surrounded by bat bones. Day 4. Mauro was hallucinating. He saw his wife. He saw water fountains. He reasoned that dying of thirst is agony. It is a slow, painful madness. He didn't want to suffer. He also thought about his family. In Italy, if a person goes missing, the family has to wait 10 years to declare them dead and claim the life insurance. If they find the body, the money is released immediately. Mauro decided he needed to leave a body. He wrote a note to his wife on a piece of charcoal. "I love you, I tried to come back." He sharpened his small pocket knife on a rock. He lay down in the corner of the shrine. He cut his left wrist, then his right. He waited for the blood to flow. He waited to fade away. But dehydration does strange things to the body. His blood was thick, it was like sludge. The cuts clotted almost instantly. Mauro lay there all night, waiting to die. He woke up the next morning. His first emotion wasn't relief, it was rage. He was furious. "I can't even die," he screamed at the desert. "You won't let me leave." That anger sparked something. He decided, if I can't die, I have to walk. He made a plan. He would walk in the coolest part of the day, morning and evening. He would eat anything he found. He ate beetles. He ate lizards. He sucked the moisture out of wet wipes he had in his bag. And he drank his own urine. He knew it was toxic eventually, but he had no choice. He walked for days. He walked through the empty quarter. He hallucinated that his father was walking next to him, pointing the way. "Go that way, Mauro, keep going." He saw an oasis. He ran to it. It was a mirage. He fell down. He got up. He lost 33 pounds, 15 kg. His liver was failing. His eyes were damaging. But he kept walking. Day 8. Mauro found an oasis, a real one. There was a small puddle of water, but there were camel tracks around it. He threw himself at the water. He tried to drink, but his throat was so swollen he couldn't swallow. He had to use his fingers to force his throat open, to let the water trickle down. He vomited, but he kept trying. Then he noticed something on the ground. Fresh goat droppings. Goats meant people. He followed the tracks. Day 9. Mauro saw a figure in the distance. A young Tuareg girl tending a flock of goats. She saw him. He looked like a monster. Emaciated, burnt skin, wild eyes covered in dried blood and bat guts. She ran away screaming. She ran to a tent. Mauro stumbled after her. An old woman came out. She didn't run. She saw a dying man. She dragged him into the shade of the tent. She gave him goat's milk. But she treated him with caution. She called the men. The men arrived. They were military police. They looked at Mauro. They put a gun in his face. "Who are you? Are you a spy?" They were not in Morocco. Mauro had walked 180 miles, 290 km, off course. He had crossed the border. He was in Algeria. And Algeria was in the middle of a civil war. They thought he was a mercenary or a spy. They blindfolded him. They put him in a jeep. They drove him to a military base. When they finally took the blindfold off and saw his race bib, Marathon des Sables, they realized who he was. The news had been broadcasting his disappearance for a week. "You are the Italian runner." They rushed him to a hospital. His liver was almost destroyed. He had lost 20% of his body weight. His eyes were severely damaged by the UV rays. He couldn't eat solid food for months. When his wife Cynthia answered the phone and heard his voice, she collapsed. She had already held a memorial service in her mind. The story of Mauro Prosperi is a unique documentary because it flips the script on suicide. Usually, suicide is the end of the story. Here, it was the catalyst for survival. The failure of his suicide attempt made him realize that he wasn't in control of his death, so he might as well take control of his life. It is a story of extreme adaptation. Drinking bat blood, eating beetles. Civilized humans think these things are impossible. But strip away the supermarket, strip away the water tap, and the human animal will do anything to survive. We are all savages waiting for the right conditions. Mauro Prosperi recovered. It took 2 years. He ate soup, he learned to walk again. Most people would never look at a desert again. But Mauro, 4 years later, in 1998, he signed up for the Marathon des Sables again. He went back. He finished the race. He said, "I had to go back, I had to finish what I started. The desert is not my enemy, it is my teacher." He is the man who drank blood to live. He is the man who walked out of his own grave. And he is the only man on earth who can say that he failed at killing himself because he was too tough to bleed. The image of the thick blood refusing to flow is one of the most visceral things I've ever heard. It's like his body went into lockdown mode to save him against his will. Do you think you would have the stomach to drink bat blood, or would you have given up at the shrine? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you are amazed by the resilience of the human spirit, please hit that asterisk like asterisk asterisk button and subscribe asterisk asterisk. I have a story coming next week about the lake that exploded. A silent disaster that killed 1,700 people while they slept without waking a single one. Stay safe, carry extra water, and never ever stop walking.